Part 3? Part 3? Part 3. Beloved mother, beloved son.
Martha.
Martha! Central City. Ooh, meeting the Flash. Heck yeah. Reduced speed ahead. Ah, that's funny. That's funny. I like that. That's good.
That's why he's saying everything like slow, because he moves so fast.
Yeah.
Imagine being that fast. Oh wow. This is all stuff you don't see him do.
Yeah.
In another movie.
There's hot dog waiters everywhere. He's such a bad runner. He's gonna give that to the dog later to stop it from barking. This is so cool. This is like so poetic. I don't know why, but like wow.
Oh, is that supposed to be what's her face?
That's Iris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Ooh. Oh, that's intimidating.
Yeah.
Dang, that blood was through the armor too. Oh gosh. Whoa, what? What? The heck is that? That's cool. Oh, wow. That's useful. Why did he even ask in the first place then? Like, why not just do that from the beginning?
He wanted to throw him at a rock.
Yeah, I guess. Man.
Don't worry about it. It happens.
That's so awkward.
Disappears for 1/30th of a second here.
Victor helped her because he's got a good heart. What did you do to help her?
Does it justify it?
Yeah,
no.
it doesn't really
But, I mean, at least I guess he wasn't... Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
That was like right up between the legs, man. See, this is like, I don't even like football, but this is good. Like, just like the shots. Oh, his dad's not there. Oh, his mom's gonna die, isn't she?
Why do they always take their eyes off the road when talking?
What was that?
Why do people always take their eyes off the road when talking in movies?
It's important, Jonathan. It advances the plot. So now the dad shows up. Oh, jeez. Oh, gosh.
I won't let you down. Your will.
Yeah.
You got control, dude. Follow the hands.
Oh, this is cool.
Oh, Under Armour placement.
Oh, yep, Under Armour. Yep. Funny.
It's the entire nuclear arsenal you could launch with a thought.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's terrifying.
Good thing this guy's a good guy, right?
Yeah. Oh, he smiled. Did he smile?
yeah.
He
He
did.
has like a face mask?
Yeah, that's cool. He's gonna just give people money? What? Oh my gosh.
This is how we got national debt. This guy's just giving people money.
Bro, I don't think you can just do that, man.
Where do you get money from?
Like, I get... That's nice, but you can't just do that.
Your future, baby.
It really makes you like the characters more whenever you get to see them more. Because the Flash was actually just kind of annoying in the other one. I mean, that scene was in there, but it was just a lot shorter.
Whoever you're looking for, it's not me.
This is a cool way, like, for him to show that he's Batman.
Yeah.
And also...
It would have been really bad if he'd come up with the wrong solution. He thought that he was fast, and it was like, oh, no.
He just kills him.
Never
Whoops.
mind.
Turns out he really was a competitive ice dancer. There's already a shortage of those in the world. Now there's one less.
Easy version. I found your doppelganger.
What are your superpowers again? I'm rich.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Gosh, that's a nice car. Oh my gosh. See how fast that picked up? Whew.
Nothing.
Alfred's like, I'm a butler. Let me buttle.
Put the water in first. Of course. So we don't scald the tea. No, that's probably enough tea.
Oh, Mercedes product placement. Oh, he's burying the mother box.
Smart. They don't explain how they got the mother box, right?
No.
My dad always.
He didn't bury it very deep. You know, people are gonna dig that up. They're gonna be like, why is there a random hole here?
That's a bad signal. That's your... Oh, sorry. That's your signal. That means we have to go now.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
Wait, I just realized they didn't bring his, like, flash suit with him. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Literally, Steppenwolf has the first two mother boxes within 50 minutes of the first movie, of the original movie.
Yeah.
We are an hour and 50 minutes in now. Uh-oh.
SpaghettiOs.
It's so intimidating, like the blood just flying through the water. Oh, he just chopped the dude in half! Oh my gosh! That was brutal.
I'm not trying to.
Draining the water from his body?
I think so. Oh my gosh. What the heck was that? That is what she was doing, right?
I think so, like draining all the moisture out of him.
That was weird. Oh my gosh.
It looks like she was like, the
Oh.
blood started coming out.
Yeah. That was freaky. Aquaman's gonna show up. Here we go. No. Oh yeah! There we go. Ooh! That was like a Muay Thai knee. Nice. Oh no! You got it! His face looks kind of funny in there. In the mask. Oh no. That's not good. He likes doing it, doesn't he? Like walking backwards and getting in the water. It makes it feel cool. The Bug's Life? Yeah.
You know, whenever the grasshoppers, they go in and invade the ants.
Oh my gosh.
What do they look like? That's what it reminds me of.
They will tell me what they know, or I will rip it from them.
Alright, so before we actually get to the review real quick, I realized that in these videos I haven't been asking y'all to comment anything. And one of my favorite things about making YouTube videos is trying to get some interaction with the people who are watching this, because I don't want it to be just me and my friend or something talking about these. I want to interact with y'all. You know, right now this channel is small enough to where I can actually reply to every person who comments. So I was just going to say, since this section of the movie allows us to get to know each of the characters a little bit more. I think we know them well enough to where we can actually start talking about which one is our favorite and least favorite. And so, if you're watching this, I'm going to ask you to comment below and let us know who is your favorite member of the Justice League so far and who is your least favorite and why. And so I just wanted to throw that out there because so far, like some of my other videos, we get more interaction. But this one, I've gotten a lot of likes and dislikes and stuff. And if you dislike it, that's fine. But I want to get some interactions where we can talk to each other because, I don't know, I think that's fun and I want to hear what y'all have to say. I like communicating. So I just want to throw that out there real quick. But real quick, we just watched part 3, Beloved Mother, Beloved Son. Sean, what did you think about this chapter of the movie?
I did like it a lot. I mean, all the parts have been good so far. They've all provided a lot of really good context. Like, just in general, it flows better. Like, it gives context as to like how he found the how he knows where the Atlantis wake box is, and also the third one that he hasn't gotten to yet. Like, it shows like how there's the hostages there and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you see a lot more of the build up for how they're tracking these down, whereas in the first, like the other one, you kind of just have him showing up and getting them, and you're kind of wondering, why didn't he just go from one to the other?
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you're saying, oh, he's having to track these down. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, and then like the Flash had more background. Like the first several minutes of this part was like entirely cut out.
I think like the first half of this whole part, I believe, like probably it's a 40-minute like segment, and I think like the first 20 minutes or so is entirely new. And even the last 20 minutes, like the parts that we get are a lot shorter in the other one.
Yeah.
So this is very, like, this is probably the first section where you're like, oh wow, this is a lot of really like brand new stuff. Even though I guess really a lot's been brand new already because at the time when they get the second mother box in this one, it's 1 hour and 48 minutes. Whereas in the Justice League version, they're 50 minutes in. So
yeah, and 1 hour 48 would be almost the end of the other movie.
Yeah, exactly. So this movie's a lot more fleshed out. One question I had real quick is, what do you think the title Beloved Mother, Beloved Son's about? Because this is actually the first segment. I mean, I could have just missed it, but this is the first one where I don't think the title was actually mentioned in the actual part. Because the other ones, like Don't Do It Batman, Aquaman said that in part 1. In part 2, The Age of Heroes, that was mentioned at the very end. I think Wonder Woman said it. But I don't think anybody said Beloved Mother, Beloved Son. So what do you think that's about?
Would that have to do with Aquaman?
I was trying to figure it out. The best I could do, it actually seems like it's a common denominator between all of them. Because Aquaman, like at the very end, we learn, that him and his mom didn't really have a relationship.
Oh, I got you. It's kind of the whole theme, like the cyborg with his dad, the parent dynamics.
Yeah, so it seems like, I was just trying to figure out, like, why, like, since it wasn't explicitly stated, why did they choose that as the title? And when you think about it, it seems like the 3 main characters we get more backstories for here. We get Cyborg, the Flash, and Aquaman. None of them really have a relationship with their mom, right? Because Cyborg's mom died, the Flash's mom died, and then Aquaman, his mom, I think she's dead now, but, they didn't have a relationship to begin with, really, and he was kind of bitter towards her. And really, I guess all 3 of these guys are pretty estranged from their fathers as well, mainly because Aquaman's father, I believe, is dead. Cyborg's dad, he's just really mad at him because he blames him for his mother's death. And then the Flash, he wants to be close to his dad, but his dad's in prison. And so that's what I was trying to figure that out. If you know why this is called Beloved Mother, Beloved Son, let us know. I don't know. I could have just missed it. Maybe they did say it at some point. I just didn't hear it.
That could have just been like that. I mean, that's a good part of character development. I don't know if it's necessarily stakes per se, but it does show that there's more character depth.
Yeah. So that was cool. And the Cyborg stuff, we're going to address it, but literally we get so much backstory about him here. So you actually care about the character. Whereas in the other one, I cared nothing about him. But real quick, let's just walk through the plot of this thing. So this section starts off where we actually get to meet Barry Allen, because I don't think he showed up in the first 2 parts.
No.
Yeah.
I think they just mentioned getting a team together, and I think they may have mentioned his name.
Yeah. Okay, but this is where we actually get to meet him, and we get to meet him with the scene where he's going in there to apply for this job, like at a vet place.
Yeah.
And then there's this wreck where there's this girl, and this is actually, have you ever watched the Flash TV show?
No.
Okay, and you've never read any of the comics or anything, but this actually in the comics and stuff, and in the TV show and everything, it's his future love interest. It's Iris West. Okay. And she gets in this wreck, where I guess it wouldn't have to be, because they never actually say her name in the movie, but that is who this person's supposed to be. And you get this really epic scene where you get to see how fast this guy is. What do you think about that scene?
I thought it was pretty cool, and it also like you mentioned, it's like it points out that it's not just that he's like really fast. It's like he's entering like almost a different like continuum.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah, and in the Flash like realm of stuff, it's called the Speed Force. Like so that's actually what it's called. But it's interesting because I just really like how it's portrayed here. You see how fast this dude is in the Justice League one. You see he's fast, but I mean Superman ends up going faster than him in the Justice League one. In this one, this guy. Like, all this stuff that's happening with Iris and stuff, that's within, like, a fraction of a second. Like, she is flying through the air, and it's, like, almost like a 2-minute, 3-minute scene. I don't know exactly. I didn't time it, but it drags out. Yeah, he's just, like, going out. He's grabbing, like, hot dog wieners, putting them in his pocket. And I even like how he, like, takes his time to, like, put her in a proper position and, like, cradle her so that whenever she lands, like, she won't, like the shock of, like, the sudden change won't, like, you know, shatter her, because in reality, if you're falling one direction and then you're suddenly, like a second later, just in like a different position, you would die because the force of the whole like thing would change. So I like that it's very almost like a dance whenever they're going through this, and the music behind it kind of helps out. But I really think it's cool how they portray this. Like, this dude's fast, and the whole other continuum thing. The thing that stuck out to me there is because Ezra Miller, he's just not a good runner. And it could be that Zack Snyder told him to not run well. I would assume that have to be what it is, because, like, I mean, if you're gonna...
like hobbling.
Yeah, like, he's hobbling. Like nobody runs like that. But you can tell it's like he's just trying to figure out what he's doing, yet he's still moving really fast. So it's not like he's just such a good runner that he's going super fast. It's like he's literally entering into the Speed Force. And you see the lightning going around him and stuff. And so I think that's a really cool introduction to the Flash. And it's really disappointing that they cut that out of the original one, because... I don't even remember what our introduction to the Flash is in the other one, but
I think it's just him going into his house.
Oh, is it?
I think
okay.
so.
I know that the scene with him meeting with his dad is in the original one, but it's a much more condensed one.
Oh yeah.
So it could be that.
And then
go to the house, but I'm not totally sure. But yeah, this one much more epic, to where once again you feel the mythology of these characters building up. You're like, oh, this dude is powerful. That's crazy. And also that 18-wheeler guy, like. Bro, you don't know how to drive. Like, I mean, I've dropped food before, but, like, if you're in that area that you're at, now's not the time to reach for that food. But that being said, okay, then we move on, and we get to, well, another thing, we'll just real quick, just since we're talking about the Flash, we get to see him with his dad in the prison. What did you think about that scene?
I think it was relatively similar to the Justice League one. I'm trying to think about what they added, or if there's anything that was not taken out, but...
Basically, I think you get the same implications of it.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it was just a little bit longer. So once again, it's just, to me, it adds weight just because it gets time to breathe. Yeah. Like, I know I keep using that same metaphor, but I think that's a good metaphor to use. Just because it's like the same point's gotten across, right? His dad's wrongly convicted. He's in there. He's got this thing, but it's fleshed out a little bit more, and the scene drags on a little bit longer so that you feel the weight of it. And to me, it makes the Barry Allen character work a bit better because he's kind of quirky and all the other stuff. So the fact that you get this more extended scene where he's really serious and kind of heartbroken, it makes you kind of realize, like, you understand the character a little bit more. Like, he's this guy he has this potential for doing a lot of really crazy, like, awesome things, but he feels obligated to help his dad out, and so he's kind of holding himself back, staying in this city. And even, like, just whenever you see how fast he is in the other scene with Iris and stuff, like, to me, that makes the quirky stuff work a bit better, because he's this guy who moves, like, everything is moving so slow to him, you know, all the time. And so the fact that he's always, like, making, like, these weird, quirky things, like, that's probably what would result if you were in this, like, state of, like, moving so much faster than everybody else. But yeah, so I like the scene with the dad, and so I just wanted to address that very quickly. But then we cut to this scene, after the Iris scene, right? I kind of jumped around. We cut to the scene with Steppenwolf, where he is confronting this Atlantean guy. He's got, like, basically a bunch of Atlanteans captured, and he's confronting him, trying to figure out what the other mother box is. And so he throws the guy against this rock, and he puts, like, this little starfish spider thing on his head, and extracts some information. What did you think about that scene?
That was pretty dope. I mean, Steppenwolf's pretty strong. He, like, threw that dude and, like, impaled him on the rock almost.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely some blood splatter. Oh, man.
This movie's a lot more gory than the Justice League.
Yeah, this one's rated R. The Justice League one was PG-13. Well, yeah, because there's one point in this one where literally Cyborg says, F the world. And you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, like it didn't feel necessary, but it's rated R, so you know they're gonna throw it in there. But
Yeah.
this one's a lot more intense. Like first you had Diana in part 1 throwing the guy against the wall and like his head splatters, and then this one, so.
And then
It's a
later
lot more
on,
gory.
the Atlantean dude being.
Yeah, Steppenwolf's just violent. He just chops a dude in half. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's crazy. But yeah, so I thought that was a pretty cool scene. The starfish thing though, like the spider, that thing makes me so uncomfortable. I've heard some people talk about how this might be like Zack Snyder's rendition of this Justice League villain called Starro, which I believe that Starro, like he's like this giant starfish who can send out like smaller starfish to like read people's minds and stuff. But he was kind of like a joke villain because he was like the first villain that the Justice League ever faced in the comics. But he's kind of a really corny villain. But this is kind of like Zack Snyder's version of it. But the actual, the corny version of Starro is actually going to be showing up in the new Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So they didn't explicitly call him Starro, but I've heard some people saying that's what that was supposed to be. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But really interesting scene. And then one other thing that I just thought was kind of fun. We don't even have to talk about it, but we get that scene with Bruce and Diana where they kind of touch hands a little bit. And what did you think about that scene?
It was pretty funny. It was a lot better than like some of the other weird stuff they've had.
Yeah.
In the other one.
Yeah, in Justice League, there's this weird scene where Bruce is almost like he's like getting out of his like bat suit, and like Diana walks in and she's in like this weird like throw thing, and you can see there's like this like romantic tension between them, but it just feels really out of place. In this one, I will say it feels a little bit out of place, but it's also just kind of funny because like they're both reaching. I mean, I've had this experience with people like just like even people you're not romantically interested in. Like you're just like you reach out to and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, it was awkward. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. And then also later on, while Diana's at this place, you have Alfred interfering, trying to like she's making tea and he's just like talking about it. I thought that was pretty funny, just because Alfred. I don't know. Like this version of Alfred is far less Butler Alfred than he is in other versions of Batman. In other ones, Alfred isn't as involved with like the stuff in the Batcave and like making the weapons. He more just like comes down and like Batman's the one doing all that stuff. So this Alfred's a lot more involved. But it's funny, like Diana's over here making tea and he's like, I can't help it. I like he's like cringing at how she's making it. He's like, you just put the water in and don't scald the tea. But Butler's got a bottle. But then let's talk about Cyborg, right? Because we get a lot of Cyborg stuff in this one. Specifically, we get his backstory as a football player whose mom died, who was kind of estranged from his dad already before his mom died, because his dad was kind of putting work before the family. And then also, especially after his mom died, because he blames his dad for his mom's death, and because his dad turned him into what he believes is a monster.
Yeah.
But then we also get to see his extreme powers. And we get this really cool thing where we actually go inside his mind. So what do you think about Cyborg?
Really powerful guy. Technology god.
Yeah, technology god. This is once again the like modern day mythology, right? Like it's just you can see how these guys, they're elevated. They're so much bigger in the Snyder Cut version than they were in Justice League. Because in Justice League, you know nothing about Cyborg. He's just like this guy who's like mostly edgy. Robot and edgy. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I'm just brooding all the time. This one, you at least understand why he's brooding. I mean, I still think he's being very irrational. I don't know. I think it's really messed up for him to be holding this grudge against his dad, who, I mean, I get that his dad, like, wasn't the perfect father and stuff, but you gotta realize your dad was grieving too, and I don't know, as somebody who's lost a parent at a young age, I think that's pretty messed up and selfish to to act that way in response to your father. I mean, he saved your life. I know he wasn't a perfect dad, but like, come on, like, show some empathy here, man. But they try to show that he's got a good heart and he helps people out. Like he helped out his friend in school by hacking into the system and changing her grade, even though that's still messed up. And later on, he helps out the lady by giving her $100,000, which also is illegal, but his heart's in the right place. Yeah. I mean, there's already illegal stuff going on in the economy, so why not have a superhero?
Worst things to do with $100,000.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, Cyborg, very powerful guy. Very, 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 very powerful guy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, like this guy, you're like, oh my gosh, I see why they need him on the team. In the other one, I was like, he's not that necessary. He's just like, I don't know.
A fighter.
Yeah, it was just like, you could, like, they said that he was connected to the mother boxes somehow in Justice League. You really didn't know that much about it. This one, you're like, oh my gosh, this dude is probably, I mean, other than Superman, honestly, maybe even more than Superman, he is the most powerful guy. He's like, whenever you realize how much of the world revolves around technology, this dude's powerful.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know. I thought that was really impressive. And Zack Snyder said that this was a big thing that he talked about going into the movie. He kept calling Cyborg the heart of the story. And you realize, okay, like, before seeing the movie, I was like, how is that even possible? Watching it, you're like, okay. I still don't know if I agree with him or not, but I definitely agree with him more than I did seeing Justice League. So
yeah,
there's that.
That's true.
And then we get basically these two encounters, right? We have Bruce meeting the Flash, and then Diana meeting Cyborg. What'd you think about the scene where Bruce meets the Flash? You know, Flash comes in, and it's very similar to the Justice League one, but what'd you think?
It's pretty similar. I think it's cool how they did that. I'm glad they took out or not took out, but they didn't have the cringy
Brunch line?
Yeah, like the brunch line and
What is
stuff.
brunch? It's like,
What is brunch?
is it breakfast? Is it lunch? It's like, dumb. Yeah. But,
We already hear enough of that.
yeah, exactly. I think the Flash's jokes land a lot better too. I don't know if it's just the score or something, or maybe I'm just biased towards this movie, but I think that they play it off a lot better. Maybe just because he is more fleshed out, to where I have more empathy with his character, so I'm more likely to deal with his quirks. Whereas in the other one, everything he said was a joke, other than like the very brief scene he had with his father.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy, he's got more depth. But I do like this scene. It plays out very similar to the other one, other than the whole brunch line. And I don't know. I think they also let it linger a little bit more whenever Batman, like when Bruce throws the Batarang, and like you just see Barry like processing things, like he sees it, and then he turns back to Bruce,
Yeah.
and then he grabs it, and he says, "You're the Batman?" Like, so even him at like this super speed is still like struggling to process what's going on. He's like, whoa, and then I don't know, it's pretty cool. And then Batman has his "I'm rich" line, but it works better here because it actually lingers. In the Justice League one, he's like, "I'm rich," and then like the doors close and it just cuts. This one, it lingers like for just like 5-10 seconds. The doors close, the lights turn on, and he like zooms out. You're like, oh yeah, this dude's rich. He is filthy rich. And this is just something that's like a little Easter egg. There's a billboard that they pass by right there, and it says "You are not alone," and it's talking about like suicide prevention and stuff. Obviously because Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide, and that's the reason he stepped away from this project in the first place, and then Warner Bros. Screwed him over. But yeah, so they included that little thing in there because, you know, his daughter committed suicide. But then we have Diana who meets Cyborg. You know, this is also, it's a little bit more dissimilar than the Justice League one, mainly because whenever she says, like, "We need to save the world," he says, "F the world," and you're like, oh gosh. So he's actually edgier in this one. But what did you think about that scene?
It was pretty similar to the Justice League one. I didn't know if they were gonna keep the same dialogue with her, like being like all opening up and stuff.
Yeah.
Which they did keep, or not keep, but I guess that was the original.
Yeah.
Conversation. It was alright.
Yeah. I thought it was cool, like, the setup for it was a little bit cooler. I know that you said you didn't remember how it was set up in the other one, but in the Justice League version, it was, the setup, just basically, there was, like, just, I think this black screen, and then he just started, like, typing. He was like, "Who are you, and why are you watching me?"
Oh, that
and,
part,
like,
that part, yeah.
Yeah, and then this one, I don't know, like, the screen is glitching and stuff, and it just seemed cooler, and it basically got across the same message. I don't know why Joss Whedon didn't do that, but maybe, I'm assuming, obviously, it was just that, you know, whenever they filmed it, it was just a blank screen, and then they just had different ideas of how to communicate it, and Zack Snyder's vision was just cooler.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I liked how the whole setup was there. And then there's this one very brief thing that I just wanted to talk about because I thought it was really funny. We've got Silas Stone, Cyborg's dad. You know, he's back at the Kryptonian scout ship and stuff, and he's meeting with Ryan Choi again, who I've mentioned in the past. In the comics and stuff, eventually becomes a character known as the Atom, who's basically like Ant-Man, where he can get like small and stuff. That's why he's called the Atom.
That makes sense.
But there's this scene where they're basically superheating this. I don't even know what they're superheating, but this is something. It's a plot that's going to come in really important later. But they're learning how to superheat something. And Ryan Choi turns to him and he's like, "Yeah, you're looking at the hottest thing on Earth right now." And then he makes this little comment. He's like, "Yeah, I said the same thing to my prom date. She still broke up with me though." And I don't know. I thought that was a really funny line, and so I felt like I had to mention it because That's a good line. Go Ryan Choi. Like, that made me like the character a lot. So let's get that out of movie. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. And then basically the last main thing we have to address here, there are a few things that happen after this. Like, you know, you have Commissioner Gordon wanting to meet with Batman. You have Silas Stone, like Cyborg's dad, getting kidnapped and stuff. You have Steppenwolf meeting with Desaad once more and everything.
Yeah.
But right before that, the main thing that is basically the climax of this episode, the big fight scene, is that Steppenwolf gets the second mother box in Atlantis. What'd you think about that scene, Sean?
It was a lot better battle scene than the other one.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember the other one very well, but I remember just being like, they just kind of like jumped around a little bit.
Yeah.
But like...
Yeah. It was a lot quicker. You have more context, right? Because now, because of what happened in, I think, part 2, you actually know how Aquaman knew where to go.
Yeah.
Because of what happened at the beginning of this part, you know how Steppenwolf knew where to go. Whereas in the Justice League one, they all just show up there, and you're like, guess everybody knew about this place. They probably should have had it more hidden. Well,
Yeah.
in this one, you understand how, right? Aquaman was told about it because he's the heir to the throne. He needs to know where this is at. Steppenwolf had to extract it from somebody's mind, so you know where they're going. And then the fight scene is just brutal. Like, man, this is where we were talking about earlier. Steppenwolf, like, he chops a dude in half. He just like, the dude's just in half.
He's like a little hammerhead shark running around like that one part.
Yeah.
He's like cutting the dude and like the blood's all in the water and stuff.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting analogy. It is kind of like a shark. It's like a Jaws meets Aquaman.
It made me think of like a hammerhead shark attack or something.
Yeah, because he got the horns and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, there actually is earlier designs for Steppenwolf, like where his horns were actually like a hammerhead. Like
Really?
they even call it like the hammerhead design or something like that.
Oh, that's
Man,
kinda cool.
I'm realizing I'm a nerd. I know like all this random stuff about the movie. But yeah, my favorite part about this whole scene is Mara. I think that's her name.
Probably.
Yeah, Amber Heard's character. Like she's fighting Steppenwolf. And she does this cool thing where she can, she manipulates water. And there's one point where he's trying to swim up to the thing, and she just like removes the water and he falls. I was like, well, that's a pretty smart move, like,
Yeah.
because I guess that he can't fly or anything. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But then later on, he's got her pinned against the wall, and like she removes the water. He's like, oh, you can't, like, you missed or something like that. And she's like, oh, no, I'm doing exactly what I wanted.
You can't escape, and she said,
Oh,
I'm
yes.
trying to.
Yeah, you can't escape. I'm not trying to. And she literally starts sucking, like, the moisture out of his body, right? And so it starts off with just water, and you're already like, oh, that looks pretty painful, because a lot of your body is water.
Yeah.
But then blood starts coming out, and you're like, oh, wow. Like, even Mara, like, she's not even one of the Justice League members, but you're realizing this chick is powerful.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how intimidating that is? Like, if just right now I could just start sucking the moisture out of your body,
Yeah.
that is intimidating as anything. Like, that's absolutely
I
terrifying.
look like that old lady from SpongeBob in the wheelchair.
Chocolate! Yeah, but it's just, man, like, that was crazy. I was just watching that, I was like, whoa, don't mess with her, Like, that ends up being, like, Aquaman's love interest. It's like, you don't want to get on her bad side. This is actually, well, you don't want to get on Amber Heard's bad side either,
Yikes.
the actress. Because
Yikes.
I don't know if you've heard about the story with that, with her and Johnny Depp.
I don't know the whole thing, but when you
yeah.
said Amber Heard, I know, yeah. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
oof, wow, I just thought about that. Oh, man, maybe this gave her bad ideas. I don't know. Never mind, I'm not going to get political with this. But, yeah, that was intense. That was really bad. I don't know. And then even Steppenwolf, he kind of like has to shake it off. It's like, oof. Like, forget recruiting Aquaman. Like, go recruit her, because literally if she just like stands in the distance and does that, like, the threat is gone. Like, just like the rest of y'all just hold Steppenwolf still, let her suck the moisture out of him, and he's dead. Like, problem solved. So I don't know. They missed opportunity there. But then Aquaman, he comes in, saves the day and everything. Not really, he doesn't save the day. Just kidding. He saves her. But
that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it, because Steppenwolf gets the box, he leaves, and he goes reports to
I
Desaad.
actually wish there had been a little more fighting before he got the box, because he basically just showed the Aquaman off to the side and then left.
Yeah, which, to be fair, I guess they're just showing that they all need one another. So like it shows that they can't do it by themselves. They truly need to form as a team.
Yeah.
But I guess it would have been good to have a little bit more back and forth. But Aquaman did get in this really awesome knee. Like, he grabbed Steppenwolf by the horns, like, flipped around and kneed him in the head. And I was like, that was pretty sick.
Cool. Except then right after that, Steppenwolf basically Falcon punched him into the column. But...
What can you do? Superman's dead, you know? I mean, not everybody can stand up to Steppenwolf.
And then he dodged the axe, and thankfully the axe didn't fly back and hit.
Literally, our things were going in the same, like, our minds were going in the same place during that scene. Whenever he throws the axe and, like, Aquaman just dodges it, we're like, oh, that'd be terrible if it just, like, hit Mara.
Yeah.
Because it looked like it was going in the same direction. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
that'd be awkward. Like, you just saved her. And you're like, oh, man. Whoopsies. But that being said, that is basically the summary of part 3. And now it comes to my favorite part of this, where I just get to talk about my theological reflections. And so if that's not your thing, you can stop watching the video now, but I would encourage you to keep watching it because it's my favorite part. And so basically, the way I view this is I'm trying to figure out, you know, a theological reflection I can have for each part. Because one of my favorite things, now let's be honest, right? I like to find the strawberries in movies. Find the different things that we can see that point us towards God, even in movies that aren't necessarily Christian. And so in part 1, my main thing I was talking about is basically the idea of grief and the loss of hope, right? Because they were dealing with the aftermath of Superman's death and everything. And then part 2 was basically about history and the threat of evil, because we get this backstory and we get to see that this isn't the first time that these people have been attacking Earth, but they've attacked it before, and the heroes overcame it, but not totally, and so they're coming back. And so there's these themes that are very theological by nature, right? It's the idea of, you know, lack of hope, enduring evil, things that are very present also in the biblical narrative. And this one, I'm actually going to refer to this one as being about conversion and moving on, right? Because basically this is the transformation story of our 3 other heroes, right? So we already had Batman and Wonder Woman who were already on the side with one another. And basically over this part, we get to see our other 3 heroes, Cyborg, Aquaman, and the Flash. They come, like, they're on the road to becoming part of the team, right? The Flash starts out, and he's just this loner guy who's just doing his own thing. By the end of the part, he's joined the team. Cyborg, at the beginning of this part, he hated everything about himself. He wished he was dead. But now, he hasn't joined the team yet, but he's come to terms with who he is a little bit more. And this part ends with him looking up at the bat signal, which implies, okay, he's probably going to go join the team.
Yeah.
And then Aquaman, same thing. At the beginning of this part, he still wanted nothing to do with the team, but then now the second mother box has been stolen, and this is going to be like, okay, this is a real threat. He's going to go join the team. So this is basically their conversion, right? And so if you actually follow these parts, it's very much like a person's testimony. Right? It starts off with somebody realizing, okay, there's this problem, right? They're grieving, like they're lacking Superman, they're lacking hope. And then it goes to the second part, right? You look to the history to find the source of the problem, right? Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. You know, so you look back to the Bible, you figure out, okay, how do we solve this problem? And you see, oh wow, like this issue that I've got with sin, it's been an enduring problem that everybody has faced, but everybody has failed to overcome it. And so there's got to be this conversion moment where you realize, okay, there's got to be something I can do to change from being who I was to who I am. And ultimately, it's got to be rooted in finding that hope. That hope is ultimately going to be found when Superman shows up later on, whenever he comes back to life. But right now, it's the belief that they can somehow overcome this evil, right? And so they're on the process there. And so basically, I'm just, you know, that's my theological reflection for this one. This is the conversion, and this is their moving on. Because all of them were kind of grieving in a way. You know, Cyborg was grieving his mother, grieving the fact that he didn't have that life that he dreamed of.
Grieving his existence, basically.
Yes, exactly. But now he's moving on. He's trying to find a new purpose.
Yeah.
You know, Aquaman, same thing. He was kind of just going through, he was kind of just this miserable punk, who really is kind of still miserable at the end of this. But he's starting to think things through a little bit. He realizes the severity of the situation. He realizes he needs to move on and do something. And the Flash, same thing. He was miserable, you know, kind of just doing this whole stuff where he's just going from like one job to another, just trying to stay in place, just be with his dad. But his dad says, you need to move on. And so he's like, I need friends. Yeah, I'll be part of your team. And so really this is the conversion where they are choosing to move on. And so this is like the catalyst that's going to lead forward the rest of the movie. You know, and so that's my theological reflection for this one, and we'll have to see where this goes. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, that was good.
All right, cool. So anything else you want to say about part 3, Beloved Mother, Beloved Son?
Not that I can think of right now.
All right, cool. Well, if you have anything you want to say about Beloved Mother, Beloved Son, I know that some of y'all have commented and let me know that you want me to talk less, but this is my channel, so that's probably not going to happen. But I do appreciate your comments, and so if you want me to talk less, please let me know, and I will just be happy to not oblige. that. But that being said, comment below. Let us know what you think about this part. Let us know what you think about this movie, whether you like it better than Justice League, whether you don't. And then also let us know who's your favorite Justice League. I almost said Avenger. Who's your favorite Justice League member so far? Who's your least favorite and why? Until then, we will see you next time for part 4. The name of it is blanking on me right now, but we'll see you for part 4 in the future. And until then, my name is David.
And I'm Sean.
And this has been Now Let's Be Honest About Movies. We will see you later.